Are we ready? Crouch, touch, pause, engage. All right. So thanks, Nick, for introduction there and for helping get this presentation going. I appreciate this hugely. This presentation started out. I went down to Cape Town now with the Cape Schools cricket team. I think you guys will excuse me taking the scrum head off. With the cricket team, and wanted to put together a presentation to meet with the old boys there, and it's developed. And thank you for the idea. I think the idea came from Nick to do an online meeting like this with old boys around the world, and why not? I think COVID has, as frustrating as it's been, has taught us a few valuable tricks, and this is one of them. I think Nick put mostly his year photos there. Nick, are you anywhere there, or you're always in the background on the rugby photos?
I'm there. Don't worry. The good-looking guy.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so a few more there. Devastated that we haven't been able to have reunion groups the last few years. But I trust old boys have been getting together and reminiscing, and certainly long may it continue. So I think the purpose of this evening is to, well, as it was explained, chat a little bit about where we've come from and what we've done, and then understand what's coming, because what's coming is more important than what we've done. And actually, if we look back on it, I mean, it's been a hell of a lot of work, a hard load of work the last 2.5 years. But if we look back on it, actually, what we've achieved is easy stuff. You know, you look at what a school needs to do to turn itself around from where it was, and you realize, well, that's obvious, and that's obvious, and that's obvious. And so I really feel, looking back, that we've picked the low-hanging fruit and achieved some of the quick wins, but actually the long-term gains are going to be a whole bunch tougher. And so this presentation is kind of broken into 2 parts, maybe 3 parts. And the first one really looks at this low-hanging fruit that we've picked, to be able to turn the school around a little bit. And I've identified 6 different aspects of what we've done, and I'll take you briefly through all of those. Obviously, there's a lot more conversation in every single one of those. Now, the first one, obviously, is the academic turnaround. This is the trajectory of where we've come from. 2018, devastating academic results, 74.8% pass rate, which we've turned around. Shout out, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, Nick. Are there any 2011 year group guys in the audience? Don't you want to unmute yourself and give us I'm a daughter or something like that? There's quality
2011s.
2011s, anybody?
Clearly, they didn't come to class very often.
That's a bit disappointing.
Too clever.
But I mean, since 2011, steady decline downwards, and so turning that around has been the big need. I just want to be clear. I mean, it's not only about this is the pass rate, 96% last year, and I mean it's sometimes tough to hold that. I'm anxious to see what this year's results are going to be like. We've had some challenges that we've had to overcome, obviously, in this COVID time. I mean, things are so unpredictable. But yeah, big priority. I think I've been criticized for giving too much attention to the academics. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but really, really important. How have we done that? Like I say, some of the easy fruit to be picking, you know, just 2 things if I can focus on. I mean, getting kids to choose the right subjects. I think it was 2019. We were disappointed with that result. It was 81% pass rate. We had expected way higher on our September results. And when we went and looked at who were the kids who had failed and why had they failed, it was shocking to see. And subject choice was part of that, you know. Kids, I think out of the 18 kids who had failed that year, 11 of them failed because they were doing like maths and physical science, or maths and accounting, or all 3 of those subjects. And if 2 of those subjects drop below 30%, that's a failure. So we realized at the end of 2019, guys, we've got to get subject choices right. We cannot afford to have kids going into matric doing the wrong subjects. And as much as parents say, no, but my child must do maths, you know, to say to my grade 12 grade head and my head of academics and say, guys, we've got to engage this. We've got to engage it from grade 10. We've got to make sure we are the educational experts. And to sit a parent down and say, I know you want your son to do maths, but actually your son's banging his head against a brick wall here. And if he needs to change, actually passing is more important than simply doing maths and failing outright and failing his matric. Easy win if you look at it that way. Other one, like maths literacy, people don't understand how poor things were. I think that June of that first year, that June exam, the maths lit average was 33%. And we said, no ways, we can't have this, and invest a lot of energy, turn things around, dynamic teacher in as the subject head at Maths Lit. And in 2019, we had a 100% pass rate for Maths Lit. So those quick wins are easy to do to get the kids to pass, actually. The more challenging aspect, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation, is to get this graph higher. So this is our bachelor's pass rate. Old days matric exemption is what we used to call it. Basically, that if a kid wants to go to university, he's got to get a bachelor's pass. And with our improvement last year, that only just crept above 50%. So we definitely want to get that a little bit higher, up towards the 70s and 80%, hopefully. All right, quick win number one. Quick win number two. Let me skip past this. I think I've spoken too long there. Quick win number two is just getting academic structures in place. Now, again, academics, a little bit more technical now. That was, maybe you've seen this if you read my newsletters, and I do owe Old Boys a newsletter. It's been a long time since I wrote one. That was the classroom allocations when I started here, and I was astounded to see that. There was only one department in the school where the teachers were all teaching next to each other, and guess which department in the school was producing the best results and still is producing the best results. And so at the end of that first term, I said to the teachers, there's your new classroom allocation. Pack up. We've got a whole bunch of trolleys from Spa down the road, and the teachers packed up their classrooms and moved maths department up the top here, going into the economic sciences, going into the life science and the physical sciences, humanities department down the bottom over here. And initially, teachers resisted it. Royden, you won't mind me. Royden, I saw, is in the call here. Royden, initially, he wasn't very happy about changing class. And about a few months later, Royden said to me, oh, Garth, it's so nice having my subject head right next door to me. So I said, oh, really, Royden? You do like it? He laughed. He said, Garth, you were right. That was a good call to make those changes. But, that kind of thing, just getting opportunities for the teachers to talk more. A subject head can quickly pop into the class of the first-year teacher next door and see how they're doing touch base or whatever the story is. Just valuable, and if we can get our subject departments and our subject teams working more effectively together, direct knock-on with results.
So Garth, so you said that the top is the top floor and then the bottom is the bottom floor, eh?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, sorry if that's a little bit cryptic for people. Top floor, second floor.
You guys remember
additional classrooms that we've added. This is the old library over here. I'm quite sad that it's been turned into a classroom. It must have been a beautiful library back in its day. Anyway, we're working well with it. I could talk more, but let me move on. Learner enrollment. I was quite surprised when I got to Dale to see the grade divided in 4 ways, and class average size is kind of 27. Some classes down to 24 kids in a class, some a little bit bigger, 29, 30, but average 27. And I thought, well, that could just as well be 33. I came from a school where we had quality academics and we had 35 kids in a class. And so we marketed right from the outset. There was a lot of positivity with the new headmaster, and we looked to attract kids, bolster our numbers from kind of 120 per grade up to 130, 132 is what our admissions policy says, but we allow 136, which is 34 per class, basically. And by increasing those numbers, initially, now is coming at a bit of a cost as the numbers have grown and we need to appoint more teachers. But initially, you could take 27 in a class to 33 in a class at no extra cost to the school. And that has helped us to get us out of the financial hole that we've in. I think Old Boys have realized that the school has fallen on tough times. I don't think Old Boys necessarily realize how desperate it was. I say this with transparency. In 2018, the school literally counted the cents to be able to pay salaries at the end of December in 2018. And 2019, we kind of got to about September and we realized we were going to be fine. And as that extra enrollment kicked in with limited additional expenses, that has helped us get out of the absolute budgetary hole that we're in. Don't get me wrong, things are still tight and we're needing to be very prudent. We've got a lot of expenditure that we need to do to get ourselves to the functional level where we want to be. Fourth quick win was investing in the infrastructure and the maintenance around the school in a load of different ways. Let me talk about 2 things on this slide. Firstly, the digitization of Dale College. I tell the story a lot. I got here and there was a first-year geography teacher, and he said to me, I asked the teachers, give me a wish list if you could, 3 things that you would like. And he said, Mr. Shaw, I'm desperate to be the kind of geography teacher I have in my mind, but I cannot be that teacher. I don't have internet in my classroom. I don't have a projector in my classroom. I cannot bring Google Earth. I cannot show the kids videos. I need these, if I want to be the teacher that I want to be. And we actually had money in the budget to do the paving. We stopped that, and we spent that money on getting Wi-Fi throughout the school, internet throughout the school. At least Wi-Fi came later, getting projectors into every single classroom for those who wanted it, and digitizing, taking steps towards that as a school in the 20th century, 21st century, where are we now? And then otherwise major infrastructural projects, the fencing around the school. Many people who came in would have seen up around the Buster Farrer. The fence was in derelict condition. And let me mention it as well. Format is owned by an Old Dalian. He gave us an incredible price to do that fencing job. This year, and then this year we also did the paving in front of the school, and SL Contractors did that project for us at cost price, basically, which has been amazing and allowed us to do a whole bunch more than we had initially planned on doing. I've shared photos of the change rooms that we've developed or fixed up or renovated around the school, cricket fields, and up at the soccer fields, the Buster Farrer fields, which are now soccer fields. And again, that came from a donation from an old boy who requested to be anonymous at that. Our maintenance team, we've really invested in our maintenance team and are doing jobs ourselves. I know that there was quite a negative photo shared on social media. I don't know why it was shared on social media without questions being asked first. But I say that tongue in cheek, but quite seriously. And our team has done a stunning job fixing up that facility. And I mean, we really do have a maintenance team who can do building, who can do electrical work, who can do plumbing, who can do tiling, any project, major projects, we're going to be tackling in the next few years with this team. And that's very exciting to me, because we have a hell of a lot of maintenance work to do around the school. And the fact that we can insource it ourselves is valuable for that. Eurolux, Steve Palfreman, very supportive and generous and helpful. Thank you to you and your support over there. Lots of work going on. Currently, we're renovating our hostels, which have been in poor condition. A, we want to increase the number of learners in our hostel, but B, we want to pitch as a marking center, which will generate us a source of income. And I'm really hoping that we can do that even this year. Haven't got confirmation, but things are looking good. High on the priority list is painting the school. We had planned to do it this year, but hostels have been given priority, and we'll certainly tackle that in the near future. There's a picture of College House, which has been given a facelift and is looking great there. Barry chose that yellow. He's yellow. I don't know. September, you like that yellow?
Red and black.
Canary yellow, eh?
Red and black would have been very dark. No, we wanted something that is dark enough to hide the dirt. Yellow hides the brown dirt very well. Those walls were grimy and dirty, but also something which is bright. No, I tease Barry about that, but it really does look stunning. Quick one, number 5, is putting meaningful pastoral support relationships in place. And let me say this is a finding which came out of my thesis. When you're working with disadvantaged context kids, they absolutely need more support. They need a third parent at school, more so. I mean, I think schools everywhere are realizing the pastoral support role that the school needs to play. But if you look at what we've got here, so here we've got a house-based teacher is what we call it. House-based teacher, he does not necessarily share a class commonality with his kids in terms of socioeconomic context. He does not share a cultural, racial understanding with his kids. What is the best way that we can make him meaningful and not duplicate his work? And that's to make sure that he carries those kids. He knows that, as all of our house-based teachers know, that over the next 5 years, they're going to carry those kids. It's worth getting to know those 33 or 34 kids, getting to know their parents, getting to know their home circumstances. At the same time, over that period of time, these teachers can develop a trust relationship with him as well. And beautiful example in that photo. Quick one, number 5, is putting effective discipline structures in place. And that photo kills 2 birds with 1 stone there. That's our head of discipline. People are surprised when we've got a woman head of discipline. She has really put strong structures in place and does not take nonsense. And then that's also our prefect body. And that's something that we've really hit hard. So Nolene has absolutely driven a demerit system where we can hold the kids accountable. had a disciplinary hearing last term, and the kid was defensive, but it's only one teacher that gives me demerits, and we could pull out the demerit system and say, look here, you've had 280 demerits from 13 different teachers, and in the last 6 weeks you've had 109 demerits from 9 different teachers. We've said to all the teachers, you've got to pull in the same direction, you've got to work with us. The system can be useful if we're all using it fairly, across the board. Very useful. Let me say as well, in terms of Nolene's role, high-end discipline engagement. Huge drug problem at the school. I think I've written about this as well, that we had to tackle the drug problem very, very strongly. On the one hand, I'm embarrassed to say this, but on the other, it's what we've needed to do. We've had 18 or 19, I say expulsions, not all expulsions. Learners leave the school with the writing on the wall or formally expelled from the department. Now that's too many. We don't want that many. But and I'll talk more about that later as well. But we've absolutely had to hit what's the word? Hit the ground hard, set a firm example to the kids of what's appropriate, what's not going to be tolerated. And if kids are not willing to listen to that, then there cannot be grace on that. Third thing I want to say in terms of discipline structures, I'm so proud of how the learners are standing up. I used to say a lot in 2019 when we had assemblies. I said, Dale College learners, you need to stand up for what's right. That badge in your chest means something significant, but it only means something significant as long as the name of Dale College is strong. And if you walk past a bathroom and kids are smoking dacha in that bathroom, you must know that name of Dale College is being broken down. And I'm incredibly proud of how the leaders in the school, across the grades, especially the prefect body. She's also head of prefects, and that's 2022's prefect body over there. How the prefects have stood up and taken initiative and really led from the inside out as we turn the school around. Let me say as well, that's important. As much as we want to fix the school from the top, we've also try to encourage the turning around from the bottom. Student leaders who can be role models and show the kids the right way, if that makes sense. All right, so that was School Management 101 in terms of how we've turned things around at Dale College over the last 2.5 years. And like I say, that is the easy fruit to have picked. Significant going forward is how to build sustainably. There's so much that's been written on school turnaround, and the writing on the wall is somebody comes in, he engages school turnaround, he doesn't build strong foundations, and he leaves a few years down the line, goes to a next assignment or whatever his further calling is, and the turnaround falls flat. And I'm trying to be crucially aware of this, and what we need to do now. We've turned the corner, but now we need to make sure that we're really building strong foundations. And that, I'm sure you can all understand, is a whole bunch tougher than simply getting kids to choose the right subjects. So again, 6 works out nicely, 6 aspects to look at. And there again is from our prefect induction just late last term. Developing strong but dispersed leadership structures. I was quite surprised when I got to Dale College to find a leadership structure that was very steep, with the principal holding everything and calling the shots and kind of even saying, guys, I think we need to cut the grass in the field today. I refuse to do that. I want my estate team to tell me when, or not even tell me, they just need to cut the grass. But across the board, in terms of my heads of department, in terms of my management team, I want to flatten that structure. I want people to run with their portfolios, with initiative, with ownership, and a sense of responsibility. I want my subject heads to run their departments with that sense of responsibility. And then, as I spoke about earlier, getting our student leaders to really lead with responsibility and initiative and ownership. Let me say as well, traditionally schools like ours have a very strong prefect game, but the RCL is in many ways very, very significant. Representative Council of Learners, maybe you're not aware of it if you're of the older guard. There's basically a leader from every single class, representative throughout the school, very much more a political structure, if you can see it that way. And to get that working effectively alongside the prefect body as well. But then even our captains, let's not underestimate the role that sport plays in a school like ours, and getting our student leaders in the sports teams and society chairpersons and whoever else to play strong role in leading and being role models and effectively mentoring kids underneath them on a smaller micro level, if that makes sense. And lots of training that's got to happen in that to get our staff and learners in position for that. I spoke about sport now. Competitive and developmental sport. I was quite surprised again when I got to Dale to see, I mean, Dale College sport has always been strong, and we know in many ways it's been the backbone of the school. But I was quite surprised, and I don't know when it crept in or how things developed, but again, a very narrow focus, rugby, hockey, and cricket. And even then, sport at Dale College had become very much focused on the elite teams, the first team, or the A teams, but we're trying to broaden that, create opportunities for all Dalians, everybody, whether he's doing sprint training and he's out 4 days a week, intense, working on his own, self-motivated, disciplined, enduring heat. He's developing skills which are equally important to that kid who's playing fly half for the first team, and to provide opportunities for learners to do that. Regardless of what their interests is, we've got to be able to create a wider range of opportunities and at all levels, whether it's that jock like Nick Eyre who played provincial rugby, or that kid who plays under 14 C team and probably doesn't have a hope of playing first team. Hey man, he's important as well. Nick, were you a jock?
A jock?
Yeah.
In winter, in summer, I went to play squash, and all the cool guys went to the pool. I swam like a stone, so I was ostracized in the summer. So
right.
I know both sides of the story.
Okay,
but Nick, you're also an academic, bro.
Well, yeah. but
So,
winning the science prize was my greatest claim in Dale College.
Really, Nick, that's impressive. Eh?
Thanks.
Good. I'm a science teacher. I'll give you credit for that. So long-term goal number 3, the meaningful academic results. So I spoke about that earlier, the bachelor's pass rate, and getting that bachelor's pass rate higher up. I talk a lot to the kids about any mark under 50% is not building a future for you. You've got to get your marks above 50%. You've got to be strategic. What do you want to do? You can't just take the easy subjects, but making sure that you bang open doors for yourself, if that makes sense. Quality academic results, and there's a lot of work that's got to go into that. That can't just be getting the kids to choose the right subjects. We're a long way from that at the moment, and let me tell you a story. And maybe you're not aware of how bad it is at Dale College, if I can say it that way. One of the principals, the Queen's College principal, phoned me at the start of the year, and he said, "Garth, congratulations on your pass rate, 96%. Wow, well done." And we spoke a little bit about that, and I knew he was disappointed. Their results had been a bit lower than that. I said, "Jansa, how are you feeling, man?" He says, "Garth, there's a lot of pressure. It's tough. We're really disappointed. This subject, this is where we've got to give attention to." And I said to him, "Jansa, don't be too hard on yourself. I've seen on social media your top achievers," and I saw that they had posted their top 5 candidates who all got straight A's or whatever it was. And I said to him, "Jansa, your top 4 candidates achieved more A's than our entire matric class." That puts into context. I think we only had 18 A's last year. And so we really do need to improve on that. More kids getting the 80% and the 70%, being able to go out into the world and critical thinking, make positive contributions, not just average floating through, even if excellent on the sports field. What was it that, who was it? One of the, Jake White said to us actually at the Headmaster conference a few years ago. He said, "Schools, stop selling your kids the dream of playing professional sport. They've got to get a quality education behind them." And so we really do need to prioritize that academic, the top end academic achievement.
Amen.
Right.
Garth, amen.
Say again?
I said amen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jock. You're not a jock. Restorative discipline structures, long-term win number 4. I said earlier about 18, 19 expulsions. I say this with humility. This is not who we want to be. And I say it with boasting of my previous school, if I can put it that way. Probably half, if not more than half, of those kids who've left the school at my previous school would not have been expelled. They would have been supported, put on support structures, look for rehabilitation, look for restorative discipline over there. And on the one hand, we've needed to send... Where is it echoing? There's echo coming somewhere. I don't know if somebody's...
Can we just everybody make sure that their mics are off, please, guys? Kone, I think that's you.
All right, let me carry on.
Sheldon Kone.
Let me get some water. More than half of those 18, 19 expulsions, I would have, at our previous school, would probably have looked to restore those kids. And we need to move in that direction. On the one hand, we've needed to set a very firm precedent, but on the other, we need to start developing that culture of being able to believe that kids need second chances and deserve second chances, and being more willing, not more willing to give them the second chances, but to be able to support them across the line. And this, which I say over here, these two things, we've got to teach our kids, we've got to educate them into better discipline. But then we also need to equip our staff to be able to walk those support journeys with them. You can't just give a kid another chance and another chance and another chance. Something has to change. In fact, it's our guest speaker at our prize giving tomorrow who said to us, we once had a kid who was repeating, and she asked the question in the staff meeting. She said, what are we going to do different with that kid that he actually passes next year and not just achieves these same results? And that's what we need to do. We need to develop our staff, mentor our staff, train our staff, get our staff, create structures which will allow our staff to be able to walk those support journeys with those kids, to be able to turn their lives around rather than just shipping them off to another school. So I say that my governing body and head of discipline is probably going to crucify me for that, but it really is a challenging long-term goal that we need to implement. Getting the ethos and the culture right. Now, old boys, you might shudder as you read through this list. Please don't assume that the Dalians of today are proud of the institution. You know, just today I walked home and there was some litter, and there were 3 kids sitting against the wall, and litter kind of less than 5 meters from them. I said, gents, does it make you feel good about the school to see that litter over there? No, sir. I said, well, why are we just, there's a bin 20 meters away. And they got the picture and they went and picked it up, you know. Are our kids motivated? Are our kids self-disciplined? Do they have perseverance? Do they have grit to keep going? Are they humble? Gentlemanly conduct, non-toxic masculinity. I mean, these things are important. We live in a society where rape culture is prevalent, where questions are being asked about the legitimacy of and the validity of a single-sex boys' school. We need to defend that by saying we are making sure that we're sending boys out into this world, or men out into this world, who understand the right things and have the right respect, which is currently not the case in our society. We need to look at ourselves quite deeply in the mirror and talk about that. And at school, we talk about that a lot, those last 2 topics, quite strongly, but there's a lot more. And I mean, that bullet list could be a lot longer of the things that we need to develop here at Dale College. You know, Sinatemba has been great, and he said, Garth, get us in, get us always in. He came in a few weeks ago and came and spoke to a few of the life orientation grade groups and kind of spoke to them, you know, somebody who's an advocate in the High Court, you know, and able to say, gentlemen, look at yourself in the mirror. Are you proud of who you are? Are you proud of what you're becoming? You know, let's make sure that we get this right. Do you want to add anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, guys, when I actually made the request to Garth to say involve the old boys. Look, there's one thing that Dale has done in terms of its traditions and what we've learned. Traditions brings hierarchy. The minute you have hierarchy, you automatically have discipline. Automatically, discipline is created. So those structures that were formed within the tradition actually made the boys disciplined from the get-go. So I think nowadays we've got a different generation. We've got a generation that we've got to first address how home is, which for some of them is not a nice place. And for them coming here, we need to remind them why they're here. Yes, they're here to get an education, but more than anything, these are boys that need to be men. And that's the transition that we have to teach them.
There's a lot more that we could say on that. But yeah, I think Senator Timber touched on exactly on my next slide as well. And this is long-term gain number 6 is developing deep and authentic support structures. Now, again, I spoke about this as a quick win, and I think we've made huge gains, but there's a lot more than we need to do. You know, Senator Timber spoke about the home circumstances being broken. We see it in the disciplinary hearings. I want to say maybe 8 out of 10 disciplinary hearings that we sit, the kids are coming from homes with absent fathers. And until we can be a place where a kid can come to school every single kid, let me say it this way, every single kid can come to school and find a third parent. Get that kind of a support. You know, we need to understand that what we mentoring the kids into might be foreign, considering their home circumstances. Where we're sending them into might be foreign, and can they leave here knowing that they have a support base that A, has given them a foundation, but B, can continue to carry them in whatever way possible. And that's challenging in many ways.
Garth, just coming back here, I don't know if you saw that's Apelele Fassi came to visit the school the other day, didn't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. So great to see him, and just the role with the boys. And so much time. Like, I mean, we were taking photos in front of the memorial in front here, and the kids were just like standing and watching from a distance. I said to him, Apelele, would you mind? Those kids would love to have a photo with you. He said, Garth, invite them. It's just so beautiful to see, you know, and hats off to you, Apelele, you know, just the humility and the time. You know, he literally had a day and a half here before he was heading off to his next assignment, and the time that he was prepared to sit and chat to these kids, and they just lapped it up, you know, bringing role models like that to come and show the kids, hey. And
Garth, we spoke about, I mean, we spoke obviously about the sport. It's easy to get a guy to love the sportsman, but we have advocates, we have doctors, we have guys that people can look up that are old boys that would love to come and talk to these guys. You know,
absolutely.
It's something that I think we as old boys need to come back and
not just here, Nick, not just here. Like let's make sure that network is empowering and big. You know, if you're an Old Dalian, you've got an architectural company, and there's somebody going to study architecture. You know, where is he doing his internship? Where is he doing his VAC experience, whatever the story is? You know, that connection, that network, that open door, the mentoring that happens there, you know, is significant. I had a very inspirational conversation with somebody from Bishops, a Bishops old boy, and you know, they're crucially aware that many of the Bishops boys have got very strong support networks, but many of the kids who come into Bishops in whatever way, from poor homes especially, do not have those support structures, and looking out as a school, as an old diocesan network, to be able to support those kids, that's beautiful, you know. Okay, I think there's a lot more to say on that, but let's move on.
So yeah, Aggies, we'll come back to you. Sorry, if you could just maybe write your question in the Darren Ogden, if you can write your question there. So we just got to get through this before it goes too
Thanks,
long.
Darren.
Sorry, Aggies.
So challenges ahead. And Darren, I had you exactly in mind in that, thinking of an architect. So I wonder if you knew I was talking to you there. So in terms of the challenges ahead and where we are, I mean, obviously, I think most old boys might have seen that email, that letter that went out from me appealing for contributions. And thank you. I'm blown away by the support that we've already received. We're not quite where we need to be. Let me spell it out in this presentation. You know, given these 6 things that we need in terms of the long-term goals, our staff are currently passionate and engaging. When we've advertised staff, and we've had a big turnaround, you know, a number of teachers dismissed, a number of teachers who've left and just decided, you know what, this shake-up, I'm not up for the shake-up. I don't like these expectations that are being set for me. A few people retiring. And whenever we've advertised posts, we've really appointed quality people. Most of the time, however, it's let me say it this way, it's easy to get quality staff who are fresh out of university. But the problem is that they need mentoring, and by own admission, you know, my own experiences as well, you don't come out of university and guns blazing. You need 4 or 5 years to find your feet, and in that time we need experienced staff who can help them. Everybody at Dale College is finding things new. You know, if you think of that decline the school's been on the last 10 years, and now we're turning it around, we're setting new expectations. Everybody is being pushed out of their comfort zone and feeling stretched. Second point, exactly that. We have space for people who've got high capacity, high ability to come in and hold strong responsibilities. 2 aspects of that, and if I skip ahead to this diagram over here, I know it's not very clear to see. Director of Sport obviously talks to itself as a fundamental aspect of the school, and while that would certainly be a mentoring role, getting the staff, I was quite surprised when I started here to find how divided the staff room were. Those involved in the sports program and the majority not involved in the sports program. And the realization and the buy-in from the staff, I'll tell old boys, we'll be very pleased together. The buy-in from the staff is that, yes, we understand the value of the extramural program, and there's value in that, which comes back into the classroom. But we need somebody to hold that and put the structures in place and help train staff and develop staff and mentor staff into that role of being a coach or a manager of a sports team or whatever else. And so there's a very clear role and responsibility that we need over there. But then otherwise, in terms of the management structure that we have here, our structure, gentlemen and ladies who's joining us as well, is very, very thin. I found out from some other schools, schools very much like ours, boys' school around the country, and the majority of them have subsidized management structures. They've got their departmental allocation, and then they have SGB top-up people assisting. And what we have is a very thin management structure. No top-up at all, and even 2 post-level 1 teachers who are not getting extra financial incentive, but running with management responsibilities. And that's I don't want to say recipe for disaster, but it's a recipe for burnout, and that's what we're finding. As well as that, these responsibilities over here, which very neatly fit into a business operations portfolio, recruitment, marketing, development projects, fundraising, our compliance, our development of policies alongside the governing body, quality assurance, major functions. Those kind of things end up getting picked up by myself between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock at night, or our other members of the management team who we all burning out, and we sat around the table and said, do we need extra support? Who can pick up some of these responsibilities? And the unequivocal feeling is, yes, we need an additional high-end person who can come in and assist. Somebody who's experienced, somebody who knows how schools work well. They're looking to step up the ladder in terms of education, and can come in and add value, even if it is for a 4 or 5 year period of time. Question is how do we fund those posts? Our school fees are low. I say that the King Williamstown community is not wealthy. I wouldn't say they're not wealthy. There certainly are wealthy people and strong businesses here. But if we're looking for 130 kids per class, we're not able to get that easily. Our fee structure, I spoke about us increasing the learner enrollment, but if we were to charge what Queen's College or Selborne or Hudson Park are charging, let me put it in numbers for you. Our school fees are 29,000. Those schools are all charging in excess of 40,000. If we were charging that, we would have to reduce our numbers from 130 probably down to about 70, which would just be catastrophic for the school. So we simply cannot charge what those schools are charging. We need to be sensitive to that. And I think I could talk a bit more on this, but I see time is late. So let me move on. A lot of the old boys that I've spoken to already asked the question, Garth, but what about the state? Why is the department not paying for these salaries? So there's a long answer to that question, but the bottom line is that the department is only able to pay for a certain number of posts, and a school like ours does not justify more posts. I mean, my first teaching assignment, I had 45 kids in my class, and that was my smallest class. So it's not so easy to say, but the department needs to pay for these posts. It's a state school. I was hoping with our increase in learner numbers that we would get more posts, a growth post. And what I understand is that you've got to show those increased numbers for 2 years before you get more posts. So I'm confident that we will down the line get more posts if COVID money hasn't stolen or that money hasn't been taken away to fund the COVID gap. Very tight fiscal policies in place from the department. And when we had a headmaster's conference and somebody from the department addressing us, she warned us. She said, guys, be aware, there's the fiscal net is getting tighter. And we as a school need to be strategic in that. So where do we get funding for these kind of nice to have posts like a sports director and an additional SGB contract deputy principal? I'm coming to the Dale College community for that. Are there old boys? Are there members of the public? Are there companies who can support us? Is it possible to get tax breaks on that and put that money, rather than paying extra money to the taxman, put that money to an institution that is dear to you? And please, I want to appeal. Think deeply about that. Could you or somebody that you know, or company that you know, or a network that you have, could there be significant CSI contributions? I was blown away. I sent out that email, and a day later I had an email from a businessman in the border area saying, Garth, I love what you're doing. I'm very proud Old Dalian to see what's going on at school. I'm happy to put 10,000 Rand a month towards these posts. That's excellent. We need a few more of those. Failing those kind of contributions, personal donations, as one of the old boys said to me, Garth, we need 100 people to give 1,000 Rand per month. Can we find those? Or we need 200 people to give 500 Rand per month, or even if it's 400 people giving 250 Rand per month. Are you able to make that kind of a contribution? Can you justify that? Can you see it as an investment? It doesn't need to be forever. And I would quite happily say for these posts, let's look for the next 5 years, 3 years from now, we as a school reassess and see where we are. Are we in a stronger financial position? Have we covered more of our maintenance needs? And we can cover these posts ourselves. But for now, we desperately need these posts to be funded from outside. As you would know, Section 18A tax certificates are available. We can do that. Nick, you'll have to moderate our time. Dave is on the side and prep to give us a brief explanation of how Section 18A.
Yeah, I think Dave, maybe just have a quick little explanation there. I mean, I have
Nick,
no
I want
idea.
to suggest let's do that at the end. And if people want to leave, if people want to stay on and
yeah,
listen
that's a good idea.
to how, I didn't know how the Section 18A tax certificate works until somebody explained to me now recently. So please do stay on for that if you're interested. And then, don't ignore the 100 Club. I want to say that, the 100 Club is a very different funding model that basically gets managed by the ODU. And as reported, we've given our school a significant facelift, a beautiful facelift through that. And I know Dale Jr. has fixed up a section of roof and so on. And otherwise, we're allowing that fund to build a little bit, which would be great. So if that's your means of contributing, by all means, get involved there. But yeah, very exciting and hoping we can build on the next 160 years of our college. Quite awesome photos to be looking at. 61 years old, this building is at the moment, and beautiful to see where it started almost, but exciting to think about how we could be impacting the next generation and generation on generation of Dalians to come by getting the school up to a place where the foundations can be firmly in place. Last slide, like Nick calls it, a call to action. If you're sitting and you're thinking, you know what, Garth, let me be in touch. I can help you in a small way or a big way. Please get in touch with me. There's my cell phone number over there. Drop me a WhatsApp. There's my email address, and I would love to be able to reply to you and say, here's our bank details, or here's how you can assist, or if you have something else that you could offer, even if it's not financial, get in touch. Let's work together as a network, a Dale College network, and build the school for the generations that come.
Yeah, guys, listen, that's his personal contact details. Don't irritate him too much. Please don't send him too much.
Nick, that's rich coming from you, bro.
Yeah, I'm that guy. Don't be that guy. Don't be Nick A. But yeah, that is the details. And guys, if you are, please just send Garth email, even a little bit of encouragement. It's so important. I know and I understand it, that Garth and his team are under so much pressure, understaffed, and it just seems like Garth sits with me and does the marketing. Then we trying to engage with the old boys, and he's trying to run the school and the staff. So he's under an incredible amount of pressure, and just a bit of encouragement as well. Just say, we've got you, we've got your back. Support. We all want to see our school.
Nick, I feel I have to come in there and say, please don't sell short the effort of my staff alongside me. Hey,
no, of course not. Your staff, the staff and everybody is just they put so much time and effort in.
A lot of old boys have asked, Garth, is the staff on board? They're pulling with you, and truly, if I think of where we've come and Dorcas Pillay is one of our governing bodies. I saw she's on the call here as well, and she's often said in our governing body meetings, Garth, what's the change management plan? Do we have a change management plan in place? Because change is disruptive. People don't like change. They don't like their comfort zones being upset. And if I look back at how that has happened in the staff room, but if I think where we are now, and how staff are pulling and passionate and excited to be a part of where we're going, it really is encouraging. And colleagues, if you're listening to this, thank you. Don't underestimate your role in this.
And Garth, thank you very much for engaging with us and making sure that we know what's going on, because this gets us excited and gets us motivated and makes us think, okay, listen, where can we pull a little bit away from us, we're incredibly lucky to have you and your staff and a good team, and we really want to make sure that we give back. Before we go, we're going to start the questions, but guys, could you quickly, in the in-call messages, you'll see on the right there, just put your name, what year you matriculated, and just so that we have a bit of a list and see who's all here, who has been here. That would be great. And then we can get straight into the questions now. If you would like to leave and you don't want to hang around for the questions, that's absolutely fine. The whole thing's going to be recorded, and we will put it out on the social media different platforms, so you could watch it again. We'll probably cut out all the rubbish that I was talking about, a little edit thing. But Garth, again, thank you so much. Tips, also thank you to you and DT and all the guys. They've done so much. And if you are looking to get involved, please, you have Garth's. Even give me a shout, give somebody else a shout. Just phone the school directly. We can do this. We can really do this.
Zoki, again, slicking his way through. He's a wonderful runner, and he's got the pace. He's all the way through, dancing his way. Zoki, outstanding. Good long pass there. Zweni. Zoki, kick across field there for their winger. Oh, great try there by Dale College. Yeah, full run in there. Marie to kick off. There's the big Jumba. Being a stalwart for Dale College rugby. And this is why. There goes Jumba. Jumba. This could be the try of the year. Jumba. Jumba all the way. Well.
Schroeder looking for options. Cohen Bosch, skip pass Ardua, been intercepted. This is a pure Janchi. Fossey chasing on over the halfway. Janchi caught on.